Welcome back to Reddit Talks. Our team carefully creates and hand edits every story to help improve your mindset through storytelling. All of our content is 100% original and human-led. Enjoy the video.
On Mother's Day 2026, Mom mocked me at the restaurant where I waitressed for college, loud enough for 6 tables. I smiled, said 4 words, and 1 minute later, the manager sprinted over. The credit card declined at 11:47 a.m. on Mother's Day, and I watched my mother's face drain of color in real time. "That's impossible," she hissed, her manicured nails drumming against the leather check presenter. "Run it again." I'd already run it twice. But I smiled, the same practiced, professional smile I'd been wearing for 4 years at the Riverside Bistro, and said, "Of course, Mrs. Sullivan. Let me try one more time." Around us, the Sunday brunch crowd had gone quiet. Not completely silent. There was still the clink of silverware and the murmur of conversation, but our corner of the dining room had developed that tissue hush that happens when strangers sense drama brewing. My mother, Catherine Sullivan, sat at table 11 in a cream Chanel suit that cost more than 3 months of my rent. Across from her, my sister Brittany scrolled through her phone, her ring light still glowing from the Instagram live she'd been filming. The live notification blinked like a warning sign I should have heeded an hour ago. 47 minutes earlier, they'd walked through those doors specifically to humiliate me. They'd succeeded, in front of 6 tables and 30,000 online viewers. Now, standing at the point-of-sale terminal with her maxed-out credit card in my hand, I realized something that made my pulse steady instead of spike. I held all the power, and I was about to use it. My name is Jordan Hayes. I'm 24 years old, and until 11:47 a.m. that Sunday, I'd spent 4 years being invisible in my own family. If you'd asked my mother about me, she would have told you I was a college dropout, a disappointment, the daughter who chose to work in food service instead of pursuing a real education. What she wouldn't tell you, what she refused to acknowledge, was that I'd been attending Westbrook University full-time for 4 years while working 50-hour weeks, that I'd maintained a 3.87 GPA, that I'd just accepted a position at Preston Financial Group, one of the most prestigious consulting firms on the East Coast. She wouldn't tell you because she never asked. For Catherine Sullivan, I'd been a ghost since I was 14, the year my father walked out without explanation, and she decided his abandonment was somehow my fault. "You have his eyes," she'd say, looking through me like I was a window, his stubbornness, his selfishness. My sister Brittany, 3 years younger, had Mom's blonde hair and blue eyes. More importantly, she had Mom's talent for performing happiness. While I studied organic chemistry in the Riverside Bistro's break room during split shifts, Brittany posted sponsored content about her amazing college experience at State, funded entirely by our mother. I got a bus schedule and a W-2 form, but I need to back up to explain how we ended up here, with a declined credit card and an audience of strangers watching my family implode. 4 years ago, I'd been standing in our kitchen holding an acceptance letter from Westbrook University, full academic merit scholarship, top 2% of applicants, the kind of achievement that should have made my mother proud. Instead, she'd glanced up from decorating cupcakes for Brittany's high school graduation party and said, "That's nice, sweetheart, but you know I can't afford 2 tuitions. It's a full scholarship, Mom. I just need help with housing." "Brittany needs support," she'd interrupted, piping pink frosting onto a cupcake with surgical precision. "She's more delicate than you. You're a survivor, Jordan. You'll figure something out." That night, I watched through my bedroom window as Mom presented Brittany with a white Audi A4, a giant red bow stuck to the hood, a graduation gift worth more than my scholarship. I got a job application to the Riverside Bistro. Red flag number 1, I'd normalized being treated as disposable. The worst part wasn't the missed opportunities. It was the lies. Every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, every family gathering, Mom would sip her wine and tell relatives the same story. Jordan decided college wasn't for her. You know how independent she is. Prefers the service industry. She said it with a mixture of pity and disdain that made my absence sound like a character flaw. Meanwhile, I was taking 18 credit hours per semester, conducting research with Professor Aldrich in the economics department, and working doubles every weekend. I'd been nominated for the Chancellor's Academic Achievement Award twice. Mom didn't attend either ceremony. "I wish I could, honey," she'd texted the first time, "but Brittany has a sorority event and she needs me there." Red flag number 2, I'd started lying to myself about why I didn't matter. 3 weeks before Mother's Day, everything changed. I'd been in the Riverside's break room smelling like hollandaise sauce and desperation when the email arrived. Subject, offer of employment, Preston Financial Group. My hands shook as I opened it. "Dear Ms. Hayes, we are pleased to offer you the position of Junior Financial Analyst with Preston Financial Group. Starting salary, $78,000 annually with performance bonuses." I read it 4 times. Preston Financial recruited from Harvard, from Wharton, not from girls who served eggs Benedict at Sunday brunch. I'd applied 3 months ago after Professor Aldrich insisted I was criminally undervaluing myself. I'd never expected a callback, let alone an offer. I called my manager, Felix Torres, immediately. "Jordan?" His voice was warm, steady. "Aren't you on break?" "I got it," I whispered. "The Preston job." Silence. Then, "Jordan, that's incredible. When do you start?" "May 15th, Monday after Mother's Day." "Then Mother's Day is your last shift," he said. "Let's make it count." After hanging up, I remembered something odd. 3 months earlier, Brittany had posted an Instagram story, a cropped screenshot of an application confirmation. I'd recognized the portal interface. Pressed Preston Financial used the same system. She'd captioned it, big moves coming, but she never mentioned it again. No follow-up, no celebration. I realized then, what if she'd applied to Preston and been rejected? What if the golden child had failed at the same company that just hired the dropout? I printed the offer letter at the campus library, folded it carefully, and tucked it into my work bag, just in case. The phone call came on Tuesday. Mom never called on Tuesdays. Jordan, sweetie. Her voice was honey, thick and cloying. Brittany thought it would be lovely if we had Mother's Day brunch together, as a family. I work Mother's Day, Mom. I told you 3 weeks ago. The sweetness evaporated. You always work. It's like you're avoiding us. I'm paying my bills. Your bills, she scoffed. God, you sound just like him. He used that same excuse before he abandoned us. I closed my eyes. She only mentioned Dad when she wanted to wound me. A real daughter would make time for her mother, she added, voice sharp as broken glass. I heard giggling in the background, light, familiar. Brittany was listening on speakerphone. This was entertainment for them. I have to go, I said. Happy early Mother's Day, Jordan. She hung up. 10 minutes later, a text from Brittany. Mom's really hurt. You should apologize. By the way, heard Riverside has amazing brunch. Maybe we'll stop by. I opened Instagram. Brittany's latest story showed champagne flutes clinking. Caption, Mother's Day brunch plans. Can't wait to try this cute spot. Location tagged, the Riverside Bistro. They weren't coming for brunch. They were coming for blood. I called my coworker and best friend, Zara Kim, immediately. They tagged the restaurant, I said, my voice tight. They're coming here. Oh, hell no, Zara muttered through a mouthful of chips. Want me to take your section? I can handle your psycho family. No, the word came out harder than I intended. Let them come. I'm done hiding. You sure? I thought about the offer letter in my bag. About 4 years of silence and shame. About being called selfish for having my father's eyes. Yeah, I said. I'm sure. I didn't tell her I was terrified. But that night, I ironed my uniform until every crease was sharp as a blade. I wasn't just Jordan the waitress anymore. I was Jordan Hayes, financial analyst. And I was about to serve my family something they never ordered, the truth. Mother's Day morning arrived with the chaos of a controlled explosion. The Riverside Bistro was a war zone by 7 a.m. Every table booked. Every server running on adrenaline and spite. The air thick with the scent of bacon, maple syrup, and simmering stress. I clocked in and tucked my bag, offer letter inside, into my locker. Felix called a team meeting at 7:15. Today's going to be insane, he announced, arms crossed over his pressed vest. But remember 2 things. He held up one finger. Large parties over $250 get automatic 20% gratuity. No exceptions. Don't let anyone guilt trip you. He raised a second finger, his eyes landing briefly on me. And if any customer disrespects my staff, come to me immediately. This restaurant runs on mutual respect. Anyone who can't handle that can eat at Denny's. All right. He clapped his hands. Doors open in 10. Let's do this. I checked the reservation book. 10:45 a.m. Sullivan, party of 2, section 5, my section. Of course. The first few hours blurred together. Table 3 was a sweet grandmother celebrating with her daughter and granddaughter. 3 generations sharing stories over French toast. Table 7 was the Hendersons, an elderly couple married 52 years who still held hands across the table. Best decision I ever made, Mr. Henderson told me, beaming at his wife, marrying this woman. It was beautiful. It was what family was supposed to look like. Then, at 10:43 a.m., Zara appeared at my shoulder. They're here, she whispered. I didn't need to look, but I did. Catherine Sullivan stood near the host stand in her Chanel suit, clutching a Louis Vuitton bag. Behind her, Brittany posed for a selfie, ring light glowing, phone angled to capture her candid entrance. The live notification blinked red. Okay, I straightened my apron. Showtime. I've got my phone recording, Zara muttered, just in case. I walked toward table 11. The walk felt endless, like crossing a stage I hadn't auditioned for. Good morning, I said, voice professional and steady. Welcome to the Riverside Bistro. Mom looked up. Her eyes traveled from my face, down to my black apron, down to my non-slip shoes, and back up again. Her expression wasn't surprised. It was calculated. Oh, she said, loud enough to carry to neighboring tables. It's you. The couple at table 9 stopped mid-conversation. The family at table 12 went quiet. We didn't realize you still worked here, Mom continued, glancing around to ensure she had an audience. How embarrassing. For us, I mean. Brittany giggled, lowering her phone just enough to capture my reaction on camera. Oh my God, Mom, that's so awkward. Mr. Henderson's fork paused mid-air. The grandmother at table 3 frowned. A businessman at table 14 set down his coffee, watching. The restaurant hadn't gone silent, but a bubble of quiet had formed around us. The kind that happens when people witness a car crash in slow motion. Brittany leaned into her phone. Hey guys, surprise twist. We found my sister Jordan. She's our server. Isn't that wild? Mom nodded at the camera. I told her years ago to get a real career, but she never listens, just like her father. Stubborn to a fault. At least we know where our tax dollars aren't going, Brittany added, smirking at her live stream. Do servers even report cash tips? They laughed together. A practiced duet of cruelty. My face burned. Every eye in the section was on me. The menus in my hands felt like lead. I had 2 choices. Walk away. Send Zara over. Hide in the kitchen until they left. That's what the old Jordan would have done. That's what they expected. But I looked at my mother. Really looked at her. Saw the desperate need to feel superior. Looked at Brittany, performing for strangers who didn't know her name. And I looked at my uniform. It wasn't shame. It was armor. My heartbeat slowed. Actually, I said, cutting through their laughter. Mom's eyes narrowed. What? I raised my voice slightly. Not shouting, lying, just projecting. Clear, confident. I have an announcement. Mom blinked. Brittany's phone wavered. Today is my last day, I said, smiling. So let me make it memorable. I turned to face the section. 6 tables, 24 people, all watching. Good morning, everyone, I announced. Today is my final shift at the Riverside Bistro, because starting Monday, I'll be working as a financial analyst at Preston Financial Group. Silence. Then Mr. Henderson sat up straighter. Preston? That's the top firm in the state. Yes, sir. I nodded. It is. The grandmother at table 3 started clapping. Slowly at first, then faster. Her daughter joined. The businessman raised his coffee in salute. I turned back to my mother. Her face had gone pale. That's ridiculous, she stammered. You're a waitress. You didn't even finish college. Actually, Mom, I said, voice calm and deadly. I've been attending Westbrook University full-time for 4 years. I have a 3.87 GPA. I've published research. I was nominated for the Chancellor's Award twice. I paused. You wouldn't know any of that. You never asked. Brittany's smirk vanished. Her hand holding the phone trembled. And Brittany. I locked eyes with my sister. I saw your rejection email. Her face went white. You applied to Preston 3 months ago, didn't you? Silence. They didn't even interview you, did they? The room held its breath. Mom whipped around to face Brittany. What? You told me you didn't want corporate work? You said you were focusing on your brand. Brittany stuttered, eyes wide with panic. She applied to the same company I did, Mom, I said, and she got rejected. But I guess it's easier to mock the waitress than build an actual resume. Someone at table 9 snorted. Then laughter rippled through the section. Brittany's eyes darted to her phone screen. Mom, she whispered, horror dawning. The comments, but Mom wasn't listening. She was staring at me with pure hatred. She's lying, Mom shrieked, voice cracking. I want to see the manager. Is there a problem here? Felix Torres appeared at my shoulder, calm and terrifyingly professional. Yes, Mom stood, clutching her pearls. Your employee is harassing paying customers. She's making up stories and causing a scene. Felix didn't blink. Ma'am, I've been observing this entire situation. What I witnessed was a customer loudly insulting one of my best employees on her last day of work. This is a family matter. No, ma'am. Felix stepped closer. The moment you raised your voice in my restaurant, it became my business. He turned to me. Jordan, take a break. I'll handle this. Actually, Felix, I said, I'd like to finish what I started, if you don't mind. He studied my face, saw the steel in my eyes, and slowly smiled. By all means, I turned back to my mother. Since it's my last day, and since you came all this way to see me serve, let me serve you properly. I gestured to the section. In honor of my mother's generosity, desserts for everyone in this section are on the house. Consider it her Mother's Day gift to you all. The room erupted in cheers. Mom's jaw dropped. What? I'm not paying for— but Mom. I leaned in close, voice low enough only she could hear. You've spent 4 years telling everyone how generous and selfless you are. Consider this your chance to prove it. She looked around at the smiling faces, the witnesses. The phone's probably recording. If she refused now, her carefully constructed image shattered. Fine, she hissed. Whatever. We'll have champagne. The expensive bottle. She thought she could drink her way through the humiliation. She was wrong. The next hour was excruciating perfection. I served them with flawless professionalism. Brought the lobster Benedict, $38 each. Poured the Veuve Clicquot, $180 per bottle. They ordered 2. Cleared plates before they could ask. Meanwhile, I delivered chocolate soufflés and tiramisu to surrounding tables, loudly crediting the wonderful lady at table 11. Strangers waved at Mom. She smiled back, a rictus of forced politeness. Brittany kept checking her phone, face growing paler with each refresh. Finally, the meal ended. I printed the bill, looked at the total, $427.89 before gratuity. I walked to the table and set down the check presenter. Whenever you're ready. Mom snatched it open. Her eyes bulged. This is outrageous. $427? That's insane. The Mother's Day menu isn't cheap, I said mildly. And you did order 2 bottles of champagne. I didn't agree to pay for all those desserts. Actually, Felix appeared beside me. You did, loudly, in front of multiple witnesses. He pointed to the menu fine print. Also, parties with bills over $250 receive automatic 20% gratuity. Your total is $513.47. Brittany grabbed Mom's arm. Mom, just pay. Let's go. Fine. Mom yanked a credit card from her wallet and thrust it at me. Charge it so I never have to see you again. I took the card. A black American Express. I walked to the POS terminal. I swiped it. Beep. Declined. My heart skipped. I swiped again. Declined. Cold electricity ran down my spine. I walked back to the table. I'm sorry, I said, loud enough to carry. Your card has been declined. Mom turned scarlet. That's impossible. Run it again. I ran it twice, ma'am. There's something wrong with your machine. The machine is functioning perfectly, Felix said. Perhaps you've hit your credit limit? Brittany gasped. Mom, I told you not to max it out at Nordstrom. Shut up, Brittany. Mom fumbled for another card. Try this one. Felix cleared his throat. Unfortunately, ma'am, given the circumstances and the way you've treated my staff today, I'm afraid we can't accept credit cards from your party. Mom froze. What? Cash only, Felix said smoothly. For you. That's discrimination. No, he smiled. That's policy for customers who disrespect my employees. The restaurant was watching. The silence was absolute. I don't carry that kind of cash. Mom's voice pitched high with panic. And then the dam broke. Mom! Brittany shrieked. Look at the chat. She shoved her phone in Mom's face. I thought I paused the live stream, but I didn't. There are 42,000 people watching right now. Mom stared at the screen. Comments scrolled past in a blur. OMG. The mom is awful Team Jordan. Brittany got rejected from Preston Preston? Card declined. LMAOW, how embarrassing for them. Turn it off. Mom lunged for the phone. I can't stop the clips. They're already on TikTok. Brittany was hyperventilating. My followers are calling me a bully. They're unfollowing. Mom backed away from the table, pulling out her own phone with shaking hands. I need to call Linda. She'll wire me money. She dialed. We all watched. Linda, it's Catherine. I need a favor. What? No, that's not. She's lying. Linda, listen to me. Mom pulled the phone from her ear, staring at it. She hung up, Mom whispered. She looked around the room. At the strangers eating desserts she'd generously provided but couldn't afford. At Brittany, mascara running as her influencer career imploded in real time. Then she looked at me, and for the first time, I saw it. Fear. The realization that she was powerless. Jordan, her voice cracked. Please, I'm your mother. I looked at the woman who'd given Brittany an Audi while I took the bus, who'd told the world I was a failure because she couldn't face herself. I reached into my apron and pulled out a thick envelope, my tip money. 4 years of savings I'd been planning to deposit. I'll pay your bill, I said. Mom's eyes flooded with relief. Oh, thank God. Jordan, I knew you, but this, I cut her off, slamming $500 in cash on the table, is the last thing I ever do for you. Her face crumpled. Jordan, this isn't forgiveness, Mom, I said, turning my back. This is a severance payment. Goodbye. They left without another word. The restaurant exploded into applause. Real, thunderous cheering. Mr. Henderson shook my hand. The grandmother hugged me tight. You're going to do amazing things, she whispered. The video went viral within 12 hours. 3.7 million views. Brittany lost 60% of her followers in 3 days and deleted all her social media. Mom became a pariah in her social circle. Turns out people don't like discovering their wealthy friend maxes out credit cards to bully her daughter. I started at Preston Financial the following Monday. 3 months later, I got my first promotion. I never heard from Mom again. No calls, no texts, no birthday cards. And it didn't hurt. This Mother's Day, I didn't work. For the first time in 5 years, I had the day off. I bought flowers, sunflowers, my favorite, not hers. I sat in my apartment with furniture I bought and a view I earned. And I looked at those flowers. They weren't for anyone else. They were for me, for the girl who worked doubles, for the girl who studied until 3 a.m., for the woman who survived being invisible. I didn't need my mother to tell me I was enough. I already knew. If you made it this far, here's what I learned. You don't owe anyone your suffering, not even family. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from people who refuse to see you. The bill is paid. You're free to go.